It's me, Kajai, and I am here with another Google Hangout with the legendary, the man himself, the Alpha and Omega. Say hey, Walter.
What's up?
Now that
Oh,
is an introduction.
look at
Tell me that's not an
Kajai.
introduction.
You're too kind. Look at that. You are the beginning and the end. You're the morning.
Yes, I know. But I was giving you some shine, so just take it for a moment.
Leo's giving me some shine. I'll take it. It's mine.
Hey, you got some fire in your chart too. That's what makes. Well, I guess we can just jump into these aspects. Do you want to go that right now?
Let's go.
All right. So Walter's sun actually trines my sun because even though he's a Taurus, would you like to tell them why?
I can't believe he said even though he's a Taurus, like some negative connotation.
No, I mean because that would naturally, because my sun is in Leo and your sun is in Taurus, that would make a square, right? Traditionally.
Should. Which means we would have to really work our asses off for this relationship. But we get to trine, so it's a lot easier.
But how do we have a trine?
Who doesn't like a trine these days? Oh, well.
Everyone needs them, especially on a sunny day. Well, because of the degree that Walter's sun is at 1 degree, and because it's close to Aries, it would actually trine my sun. That's a little astro lesson for anyone new to astrology.
That's also because Kanjaya has a late Leo degrees sun himself, so.
That too. Also, Walter has a lot of fire in his chart. Jupiter, Mercury, North Node,
Saturn, Uranus.
Palace in Aries.
No, that's in Scorpio.
Really?
So I have Mercury, Jupiter, North Node, part of Fortune.
I was about to say, I know you got a lot of Aries in your chart. I remember looking, I was like, oh my god, that's a lot of Aries.
Saturn, Uranus, and nothing in Leo. Not jack shit.
You got, you know what? Hey, we all can't be winners in life, alright? But you got some fire in your...
Tell that to an Aries in person. No.
Hey, I got an Aries moon, so I already know what it's all about, alright? It's so you want to fight about this? I'm not talking about a verbal one. I'm actually talking about
my equation is beyond this petty bullshit.
Right. So we're both actually in Oh, wait, we got to get back to aspects. Yes. Don't forget, me and Walter both have Mars in Gemini, so a lot of weight. I digress.
Yeah. But, we'll be talking.
Oppositions. Before me and Walter actually got on camera, we talked for 45 minutes to an hour.
We did. It was a good talk.
My best friend, who has basically her entire chart is in opposition to mine, but we get along great. Take it away, Walter, because I just had a brain fart.
No worries. I agree with Kanjaya. The thing is, I've been reading on some different opinions on astrology, which is good. We all have opinions, right? Mercury and Aries is coming out live, but
hey, I got a Mercury and Leo, so I know all about opinion. Okay. A fake opinion at that.
I'm just gonna straight shoot because I have Mercury and Aries. But I think that oppositions get a bad rep in astrology. I think when people see squares and oppositions, it's like, oh no, it's the worst. Stay away. No.
Am I gonna die today? And then your Venus and Pisces starts crying. It looks so terrible. All that is just horrible.
The worst part about it is you look at a chart and it's like red line, red line, red line. You're just like,
stop, caution. In nomine Patris, Espiritus Sanctus.
And I think that with the aspects, let's list them off. Conjunction. I've read on some sites it's the best thing ever. I read on some other sites it's the worst thing ever. So I mean, whoa, a conjunction is just as bad as an opposition. And you're kind of no, they're kind of really similar if you think about it. The difference is that an opposition, you have a chance to kind of get a full spectrum of what you're lacking. A
Right.
conjunction just means you're working together with both those energies as one. But in an opposition, you're doing the same thing because you have to be able to blend those energies together. The square, you're doing the same thing, but the square is, I feel, the most challenging only because.
I think you feel a square more than you feel an opposition.
Right, because the square, you can definitely feel like, okay, this is not working,
This is not
how do we make it work?
It's not me, it's you, but really it's me.
Exactly. Like it's squares oppositions. It's kind of like, well, I actually kind of like you because you're complimenting the skills and things that I don't have. A square, you're just like, no, fuck you. Like you don't know what you're talking about. Like
A square is like, look, okay, we can talk and we can be cordial. You know, an opposition is that. A square is like, fuck you. Go, you just go somewhere. Go fuck.
And a trine, you're like, oh, we're in love, and then you realize that the trine it breaks apart for like.
I think I look at trines and conjunctions of sort of like being the same energy.
Right.
Like they flow along the same lines of, you know, the same feelings and things like that.
But then there's sextiles, and what are those? Because if you read an astrology book, they don't tell you really what a sextile is. It just says a good aspect or a bad aspect.
Or a soft aspect. Oh my
or
god.
A hard aspect.
I hate. I'm like, were you that lazy? Were you that lazy when you were writing this book?
Listen, I spent $50 on your book, and you're telling me that I have a soft aspect? I don't know what that really means.
I just look at the book like, are you really? Really?
Hey, well, it tells me
how to
draw a chart with lines. Yeah, challenging aspect. Everything's a challenging aspect. You're living life. That's it. Some things are just a little bit more easier. Depends on your perception and, you know, the stars and stuff too. But, you know, depends on your mentality.
Right.
But
so
yeah,
you want to go into, you know, the moon?
Well, see, the thing with
the moon oppositions.
The thing with the oppositions is it's interesting because I was reading this thing and it kind of triggered my thoughts about oppositions. And I have a friend like Kanjai was talking about. Sorry, Moon and Gemini. I'm at Mars and Gemini floating around, but
it ebbs and flows. It makes things interesting. We're not boring.
Ebbs and flows. But yeah, no, I have a friend that's a Scorpio that has Moon in Leo, and that has Venus and Virgo, all these aspects that are completely opposite of mine. And this person is one of the best people I've ever had in my life because he challenges me, and I challenge him right back. And together, we can have these amazing conversations, even though neither one of us budge because we're all fixed. We're doing fixed. Like, it's like Captain Planet meets Captain Pollution or something. Like you just feel that oneness, and it's even
right.
It's very.
They have what you're lacking. They balance you out really. They really do.
And it makes you work harder because you get to feel that side of like, I don't really agree with that, but I'm open to your point of view. Well, I mean, I have Moon in Aquarius, he has Moon in Leo, so he'd be like, no, you're stupid. But
like, me stupid? Ugh.
Exactly, right? But no, I think overall it's a great thing. The thing I was talking to Kanjai about was that what about when you have an unaspected opposition? So I have Moon in Aquarius and Kanjaya has Moon in Aries, but what if we met our opposites that don't touch our degrees?
Right.
And I was telling Kanjaya in our video, I was like, I can't stand them. Like, if someone has a Moon in Leo at 19 degrees, I love them. Love them. Right. But if they have Moon in Leo at 2 degrees, get the fuck away from me.
And I was telling him that, you know, my Saturn's in Aquarius, so, you know, that would be an opposition, but the degree it's at, it doesn't really touch my sun, so it doesn't really affect my ego. You know, I have no ego problems. Trust me. There's no problems here. I mean, I did deal with it slightly, like we all do, but I didn't feel it as much as if it was like touching my sun. Right. You know, right there at that degree.
It's kind of like also meeting people that have the same sign as you. I don't know if this happens to you as Kanjaya, because I feel like Leos bond really well. So it's fine. So, like, us Tauruses, let me tell you something. listen, I'm cutting it straight. If you are born in May, do not talk to me. Now, if you're born in April, I love you. We're gonna be best friends.
Speaking of April, shout out to her. I know you're. she's dealing with this Uranus and Pluto square. You know, it's been really challenging for her, as it has been for everyone. I feel like everyone is like went away and started hiding.
No, stop that, because we have Jupiter and Leo, which has been like, I love you all. Here's some gifts.
Cabbage Patch. Hey. We also got Saturn and Sag in the
trining. Hasn't Jupiter been trining Uranus though?
Yes, they're at the same degree. They're at the same, close to each other's degree.
Yeah. So that's
and also we got Saturn and Sag. So all this fire in the air, you know, it's turn up time, you know.
And it happens absolutely. We're gonna be turning it up on Tuesday.
Bring in the champagne.
Yeah.
All right, now back to the oppositions and degrees.
Yeah, I think that it's one of those things, like I was saying, if you're a May Taurus, please don't talk to me. If you're April Taurus, let's have a conversation. Let's have some wine and we'll have a good laugh.
Right.
And I also like you can see that it's almost like, you know, it's a different modality. You know, when we talk about modalities, we're talking about like, oh, well, it's a fixed versus a cardinal and da-da-da-da-da. No, it's also within the sign itself, because you have obviously like the 3 different decans, however you want to pronunciate it.
Right.
And they're different energies of different people. And I think that when you cut it all down, you're obviously going to have different motivations too. So it's also interesting when you meet people, like you think like, oh, you know, you read some cheap basic sun sign astrology website and it'll tell you, oh, you're a Taurus, so it means you are best friends with the Virgo, or if you're a Leo, you're best friends with the Gemini, or something like that. And and then you meet these people and you're like, I can't stand them. What's wrong with me?
Astrology bullshit.
Exactly. You meet these people and you're like, you're not my best friend. Actually, I have Virgo's been the most trying friend I've ever had, but that's just me. Sorry, dog.
But I also find like, I find the July Leos the more childish in a very immature way.
You see what I'm saying? It's right there.
Seriously, I feel like I get along with them, but not all the way, because I still think, you know what, August belongs to Leo, baby. August belongs to Leo. The July Leos, you know, we get along, but they're more immature.
And I feel like the May Taurus is a very slow. Might be that Mercury in Taurus, so it's not their fault.
Right. That is like put you to sleep voice right there. Mercury in Taurus.
Oh, no.
No? That's not the put you to sleep voice?
Talk about bad placements in places. Oh, I didn't say that.
Oh, well, like we were talking about Mars. I mean, just Pisces anywhere is just a shitty placement.
Listen, to all you people that have Pisces energy, we love you. We really do. Don't cry. Please don't cry. Please don't think of
Including you, Walter.
Listen, I have Venus.
Walter can talk trash about Pisces energy because he has it, okay?
I have it in Venus, and it's in 29 degrees, so I'm always crying. Trust me. I might start now.
Clearly, it's exalted in Pisces. You know, that's what some of the bullshit books say.
Oh,
but
so you can try still fixed on, fixed. I'm gonna use that word.
Well, you know, my Mercury's in Leo, so you know my opinions are normally right. What I have to say.
I don't know.
Really.
Yeah, the battle of the clash of the wills. I would love to see an Aries challenge you. Oh wait, you have that energy too.
I do. So I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so overall, I think that it's very interesting, and there's something that we don't really talk about is that, we have oppositions, obviously, with the degrees, but then there's oppositions within the polarities of the signs. Right. But see, this is which is interesting is that it all comes back down to your particular house placement. I think that a lot of people undermine and underplay the house placements. So you look at a chart and you're like, oh, I got Sun in Cancer, and it's in the 12th house, and people are like, oh, okay, you're a Cancer, and you might do things that you don't feel recognized. No, really, their 12th house person with their identity is in Cancer. So you need to look at that. In my opinion, I don't know about yours, Kinchaya, but you really want to look at the house placement and emphasize that energy first before going into what the role of the celestial body is, because the house placement is truly them. It's truly us. That circle is us.
Yeah, that
So,
area of life, that that
and I
house is
think,
reserved for a specific purpose.
and it's like you take those energies of the celestial body, and that's how those are the playgrounds they're running in. Like
Yeah.
that's the open field. The house placement is really where they are expressing that energy, and I think that a lot of people don't really see it that way. And I could be wrong, but they look at the the house placements as a secondary part, or some astrology books say, hey, this might seem like a rant on astrology books, but they're so cheap and lazy that they're going to say if you have Sun in third house or Sun in Gemini. Listen, I'm not a Gemini.
It just ruins it for everybody.
Yeah. No offense to Geminis, but you will take offense, but then you won't, so it's okay. I think
Burn.
I think that it's about the pursuits of the energy, and then obviously my identity with things that are revolve around short distance and travel and
No,
learning
stop it.
basic
What
information.
book are you reading from, Walter? As soon as you said short distance travel, I was like, oh my god, really?
No, that's when every time you hear the third house, people just like to shit on the third house. You watch some videos or read some books on it, and it's just like the third house is one of the worst houses out there. And it's just like, actually, it's pretty fucking amazing.
It
Because
is. Especially
all
with
houses are amazing.
I have Uranus and Neptune, outer planets, in my third house. And I think that the third house is very exciting. Also because I have some of that third house energy, with my Mars, my Mars in Gemini, and I think the third house is amazing. It really is.
I agree. I think every house is unique and it's awesome because it's you.
Right.
You can't just pick and choose what houses are conveniently good for you, or ooh, it's like the fourth house because it's connected to the IC. It's like no, it's
It's
just
the
as
holy
important
grail.
as every other house. You know what I mean? So
It's
it's
it's the
where
same as
you,
every other house. Just people put more emphasis on it.
yeah. But then it's yeah, exactly. And I think, but it's more about you, and when you look at your birth chart, that is you. That is you kind of caught up in your energies, but it's you, and you should always embrace the importance of that, rather than just saying, oh well, I have Sun in Aquarius. What does that mean? Well, what does that mean is that that's one tiny microscopic aspect of you. It's just like saying to someone like you're really nice when in reality nice is a small box. More attributes to all of us. So that's my rant on that.
Moving right along.
Which is
Yeah,
actually, I think, which is interesting, is that we need to talk about the nodes because
that's what I was gonna get to. All right, so I'm probably like most of everyone who's gonna watch this. I have a basic scratch the surface with every book and every website repeats, information on the nodes. And you just see it over and over and over, the same information. One site might take something from another site and just reword it, but it's the same bullshit they're stuffing down your throat. I love to hear Walter talk about the nodes because he has an amazing perspective.
oh, that really means a lot to me.
No, you do. Like, I'm about to just sit here and be schooled. Where's my pen? Let me grab my pen. This is about to be gold, y'all. So you know what, Walter, just take it away.
Well, I
'Cause
was going to say,
I don't know that much about the nodes, but Walter has his own original, amazing perspective on the nodes and how they, play out in the houses. And I'm just gonna shut up now before my Mars and Gemini just keep fucking spewing all over the place.
okay.
Walter, take it away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, isn't your node in Sagittarius there?
My North Node is in
And
Sagittarius.
your South node's in Gemini, so
In Gemini, yep.
keep chatting away. No.
And they all
Actually,
try my sun. Now, some people would say, my South Node trines my sun. My South Node sextiles my sun, and my north node trines my sun and my moon. Now, some people would say that doesn't mean shit, and then it doesn't carry any weight. Sorry for cursing.
Yeah, we're bad with that. Mars and Gemini, we don't care.
Words just fly out. We don't even think about it. All right, I'm gonna stop talking. Go ahead.
Well, I think with what you're talking about with your aspects is that it's very important, to be honest, because your sun is your identity, but your nodes are why you're here. Why this whole life, whether it's digital, real, whatever the hell it is, we're existing in this moment in time. And I was telling Kajaya, is that the North Node and South Node are always in the powerful opposition. So every other thing in your chart creates aspects of you, but your North Node and South Node, they're in such a powerful aspect. It's kind of like the Big Bang of you. You know what I mean? Like they're always in this clash because, and it's not really, if you want to look like we're talking about earlier with oppositions, it's not really completely a clash with a bad thing. It's more about working those two modalities of energies as one. It's one cohesive sense of you, and so it really sets up, once you figure out your north node, your south node, into the house, particularly the house placements, you start to see where those energies are going to play out for the rest of your chart. Why is your Pluto in the house it's in? Why is the Saturn in the house it's in? And if you continue to look and dissect a whole chart, you'll see that everything goes back to the north node and the south node. I don't know. That's just my personal.
What's the example you did with your chart? I thought that was great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So for those of you that don't know, my north node is in Aries. It's conjunct my part of fortune, Jupiter, and Mercury. It left Pisces, Venus Pisces behind, sadly. But
she could not come. She could not come. She couldn't come.
She tried to make it, but she couldn't make the stellium.
She didn't want to leave her home. She didn't want to leave. She didn't want to go on the battlefield. She didn't want to face reality. That is Aries. That's what that was.
Exactly. And then also, like, I have, obviously, the South Node in Libra, crying over there with the dark dungeons and taboos and
trying to make friends with Satan in the 8th house.
Seriously, he's trying to find some balance out there. But if you look at the rest of my chart, you start to see a pattern where you see, like, I have Moon in Aquarius, but it's also in the first house. And the first house about that, you're finding your ego, your identity. So it's kind of like the Moon, which is Aquarius, which is groups of people, other people. I have to balance that out with a sense of identity. And then if I go to look to my 11th house, that's where I have Saturn. So Saturn's telling me I have to be disciplined and focus on my relationships with other people. But it's also conjunct Uranus, which means that people are going to come in and come out, and I have to be okay with that because I have Venus in Pisces, where I'm always like crying and hoping these people stay, and I'm dreaming about big money things. But this life, I'm really told to really move forward, and because I have Neptune in my 12th house that trines my sun, means I have these powerful gifts of, the dreamland, but because it squares my north node, it's telling me that I need to stop with the full only dreaming part, but taking action, and that's why I have a Capricorn rising. So, like, you see where it all kind of plays out, that I have to, for me, I can see I have to blend the energy of other people and the responsibility of, sex and all this stuff, which is interesting. That's another thing, too, is that the 8th house rules, things like sex and taboo and the darkness and the occult.
The darkness?
I did mention it every video, right? And I also have my Mars oppositing Saturn, as well as my Chiron, which is conjunct my Mars. So I've always had issues with this energies of, sex and all this stuff, which plays back to my South Node in the 8th house. So you can see the pattern, and I've seen it in other people's charts as well, where you can really see the placement of the North Node and the South Node in the particular houses that they're in, and then you can start to see why they have Saturn where they do, or Pluto, which is interesting. I've read, and I do kind of see this, is that Pluto's kind of like your leftover stuff that you refuse to work on, and so this life you're forced to work on it. So
definitely, and I can see that. We talked about that with my Pluto in the first house. My entire life has been self-discovery, and the more I discover myself, the more I work on myself, the more I mirror myself. Look at yourself in the mirror, and face your shit, face the reality, the better I get as a person, and the quicker I pick up on things, the quicker I learn things, the quicker I see my own mistakes. So, I think that's right. That wherever Pluto is, it's where you left off, or what you didn't work on in the past life.
Or this life. It's something that in an early childhood life that you just neglected, and then you get to that certain age. With the outer planets, I think that you kind of, even though they're generational planets and we're all with them, it's something you still mature into. You know what I mean? Like, and the particular house placement will be what you focus on through the duration of your life. So it doesn't matter if you're 4 years old or you're 44 years old. The house placement will make sure that that particular energy will affect its way as you grow, grow in your life. And
Right.
I think this is the reason. Right, and I think this is why you see, for instance, if somebody had a lifespan only up to like 16 years old, or somebody had a lifespan up to 61, or somebody had a lifespan up to 81, they're still doing their life lessons and they're still accomplishing the certain particular goals of that soul, rather than saying, okay, well, if they're 16 years old, clearly the North Node or Saturn that hasn't been activated because that stuff doesn't activate till they're 30. But because of the particular house placements and how it's all angled and the aspects, you can start to see the pattern of how that individual, even if they only had a lifespan up to 16 years old, would accomplish the certain gifts and talents that they were supposed to accomplish within their own lifetime.
And there you have it.
So
That was great. I was thinking when you said you had Saturn in the 11th house. Do you think there's something karmic, and also Neptune in your 12th, right?
yes,
About when planets go into their own houses?
um, I find it interesting for me because I have Saturn in the 11th and I have Uranus in the 11th, and they're both as my first, like for instance, I have Capricorn as a rising, but then I also have Aquarius, which is intercepted in my first house. So it's like those energies are working on me personally as they are in the outer sphere of me as well. So it's like they're working together in conjunction.
Do you
Not in
feel like you
conjunction though.
sort of like own? Do you feel like you like own that house? Like, because I have
um,
Mars in the 8th house. So Mars is on its home turf. So we're not gonna go deep into that, but all right. So moving right along to your Saturn in the 11th house.
I don't want to know what's in your mind.
You know what? Let's go to Intercepted. Let's go to Intercepted houses, which again I don't know that much about. All I know is that when a house is intercepted, it's like
Wait, what do you mean, Giles? What do you mean?
I'm getting there. When a house is intercepted, it's like you can't reach this energy. It's something you can't touch. It's something sort of like a loose cannon. I see it like as a unaspected planet. With your moon intercepted, could you like?
I feel honestly, if you want my full opinion, and
Which I love.
this, yeah. Well, I'm at Mercury in Aries, so I'm gonna give it to you anyway.
What degree is your Mercury in? What degree is your Mercury?
17 degrees.
Ours trine. Mine's at 7 degrees in Leo.
Oh wow, look at that. And it's close to your moon too, isn't it?
What? It is.
Yeah.
It conjuncts my moon.
Ah, see, look at that.
I can listen to this man talk all day. It's no
Plus, my Mercury is conjunct my Jupiter, so and my North Node and all that fun stuff. So
he speaks nothing but truth. Aries, so there's no cookie cutter image. There's no nice way he can put it.
Absolutely no, right? I don't know.
Right, so what were we talking about again?
I don't know what were we talking about.
Where were we going?
I forgot.
Wait, stop.
Somebody that's watching this video, tell us right now.
Wait, we were intercepted houses. There we go.
My moon, yes, okay.
Yes,
so
right. You see, that's Mars next to Mercury right there.
The way I looked at my chart, it's almost like the way I feel about it is that I had a life probably before this one particularly that I chose to come into, and I had the goal of expectations, and I didn't do them. and I didn't do them out of fear or something, and so I came back, and now I feel like I have like double the duty because I feel like looking at my particular placements, like having Neptune in the 12th house, and having that have a skipped step from my North Node, it really makes me think that I really did not live up to my goals before, and I have to do that, and that's because I have these intercepted houses, so I have to really focus on finding my identity. If you look at my first and second house, they're huge, which is ironic because that's where a lot of this energy is. I have Aries as my North Node, so I have first, the first house energy, Aries, and then the second house is where I need to go as well, and that's full of stuff because obviously the eighth house, the Scorpio energy as well. So, and I'm a Taurus, but I have opposition to Pluto and in Scorpio, so there's a lot of different dynamics that are playing out to really push me forward to finding not only my own identity, but so it's like in this life with the intercepted house, I have to reach into myself to get that energy, to tap into my moon, and then embrace that. And so it doesn't seem like it's such an intercepted house no longer, but it's part of me as a fully functioning. I think what happens with intercepted houses and planets, particularly in intercepted houses, is that the energy just is there, but it's all over the place because there's nothing really defining it. There's no borders. There's no structure, and so it's like you have all this. It's free reign.
Like I said, I see it as an unaspected planet.
Right. Exactly, but you have that energy in there that's rushing. So it's like it's running nonstop. And you have to really find it and harness it and kind of give it its own structure, and so that you can use those energies to the best of your ability. Otherwise, they're going to be completely free reign. And trust me, with having Moon in my first house with free reign, I'm going to be making faces left and right.
And also that Venus and Pisces right there.
I'm going to start crying. which is another intercepted house as well. So.
It is?
Yeah, because
so it's really escaping now.
Yeah, because Venus, I told you, Venus is trying to make that party in Aries like a few degrees later, and it just didn't make it. It's all alone.
That's why she's crying. She's missed out on the party.
Poor Venus.
Alright, so what else did we want to talk about?
Basic astrology, but I think
basic astrology, how we hate it.
What's your sun sign?
My sun sign's Leo. Are you gonna tell me about myself?
Well,
you do me and I'll do you. Okay, go.
Basic. Okay. Well, before we go into that, I just want to say I read somebody, I think on Facebook, someone was so excited that they got a birth chart reading, and I was just curious because they post long blog thing, and I went to look at it, and it was all about your sun sign. It was like 3 paragraphs, and it was like, you like to go for walks because you're a Taurus in nature, and I'm just kind of like, so Kanjaya, you're a Leo. Do you like to take charge?
You can't say that because it's actually true. I do. With all this energy I have, you see.
Yeah, but that's something like it's in your 10th house.
Say something like, you're a Leo, so you really, should I do like attention? Constantly. Bossy. I'm not bossy. I'm not bossy.
Mean. Leos. I think Leos get.
You're selfish. You only care about yourself, which is kind of true.
I think whoever started writing astrology books, back in the day, particularly didn't have friends of certain signs. It's just like, oh, Libra, you're my best friend. Libra has best friends with everybody.
Which is not true.
Libra's like one of the one signs that just like, oh, no, please, go the other way. Like, that's another thing I've read in those cookbook astrologies, like websites and Tumblrs. That's another thing. How many times have you seen on a Tumblr the same damn thing you've seen on a website, copy and paste it.
That's what I said. They do that all the time, and that's what's like difficult when you do make astrology videos, because you pull from not only your perspective but also from other people.
Yeah.
So it's like, shit. I really have to. It's like now I really have to do this on my own.
I agree. I think this is what we need. Not to sound like we're Debbie Downers or anything with the cookbook astrologies and stuff, but I mean those are helpful for people that are just getting into astrology.
When you really want to get started in astrology, I think it's good, but you will eventually have to go on your own and do do independent research.
Like even things like with the North and South Node, like a lot of these books tell you, no, they don't have it even in their book, and then you got those other books are just wonderful. Like I said, it says, you have Sun in the seventh house where you're a Libra, so apparently you're both. But,
Yeah, Sun in the seventh house or Libra.
but yeah. So I think that I think the thing is that like I was telling Kunjai is that even in like our astrology communities and groups, which for those you out there that are watching this from a group, we love you.
Because I'm gonna
And
post this video in there.
yeah, exactly. But one of the things is that we're looking for, I think, for me, more conversations, more discussions about astrology, rather than just keep reverberating the same thing. How many, how many people it's great that we have so many people willing to come on and put themselves on YouTube and things of that nature. But how many times do we need to talk about, Moon and Leo?
Right. That's why I did like Juno and Part of Fortune. It's like part of me wants to make those videos, but I think the field of astrology is just so big.
Right.
So big that you can go into different avenues. And this guy named Seth, he did the 6th and 12th house axis videos, and that was great. That was something new. So it's like, when you're getting into astrology, don't just try not to do something that's already been done. I mean, if you're gonna do it, it's good to do it if you're trying to grow your page, but don't make the same damn videos.
Well, I think also is that I think for me is that I would love to see their interpretation. Like, if you're gonna do Moon and Leo, how is your Moon and Leo video different from the other 35 Moon and Leo videos?
Yeah.
Like, and not to discredit you or anyone, the hard work, but there's just so much information out there with everything, and you have to eventually like process it and become your own, identity. Although I have to give a shout out to Edward Lerner because I think he has done a fantastic job as a YouTube encyclopedia, Wikipedia for astrology. If you have any questions on any aspect, he's got it covered already.
He has like what 500 videos.
Yeah, and there's also good like he has tapped in like if you have a question on any astrology question.
I think he has to him in the 3rd house though.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying he's done a fantastic job. Like if you're watching this, Edward, like thank you. Like there's been many times where I had a question on my own interpretation of something. I'm like, I'm gonna see if it's on YouTube. Boom, Edward Lerner. Like
I'm kind of jealous of you that you've like taken a lot of ideas that I wanted to do and did them before me. Kudos to you.
Yeah, and kudos that you're spending so much time and hard energy, and like fantastic. I absolutely think you work tremendously hard. We appreciate your work.
We do.
But yeah, so I think there's a lot of good things coming along in the astrology community, though, and I think there's a lot of fun stuff coming in the future. What do you think, Sarah?
I have a lot of fun stuff planned. Very Leo statement, right? You're talking about everyone. I'm like, well, well, me.
It's 8th house Libra, South Node right there talking.
Huh?
Leo, I'm Libra, 8th house.
Right. But you Pisces moon god. It's just like I would love to see more astrologists get out here. Get on YouTube and just do different videos, things that I've never thought of, things that you never thought of. Like I said, Seth did an amazing job with his 6th and 12th house axis and video on that. You should watch yours, or I'll send it to you after this, and just, do something different. I really want to learn about the mystic rectangle. I'm waiting for someone to do a video on that.
Penny astrology.
She's gonna do
it? I'm telling her right now in this video because
Penny.
She's phenomenal at that stuff.
It's time for you to make that comeback. We're waiting.
We are waiting for Penny Astrology. We love Penny Astrology.
I'm still waiting for her to write her book.
And her website, she already has a website, but like she has a lot of great ideas. And we miss you, Penny. Come back to us soon.
There's a void in our heart. No, she's living. She's living right now. So, do you want to talk about your Saturn return? How's it going for you?
Well, I'm just gonna tell you straight up that my Saturn return is the most dreadful thing that's coming, and I was really scared because.
What astrology book are you reading out of?
Everything I read about Saturn return is scary. I still look scary. No, I'm just joking. Actually, I can actually laugh at that because my Saturn's in Sagittarius, which is connected to Jupiter, likes to be jolly, so I'm fine.
And it's in a fire sign. Your Jupiter's in a fire sign.
Yeah, my Jupiter's in Aries conjunct my North Node and my part of fortune, so I'm starting to move forward into my life as it's activating. My North Node's activating, so is my Jupiter's activating, so is my Saturn and Sagittarius. We're working together, and so is Uranus. So I mean, some people are just gonna be gone, but so sad, so sorry. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. What about you? What aspect is really, I think that although when Saturn goes retrograde and hits Scorpio again, I think that's going to be a
Yeah,
big
I'm
shock
not.
for all of us.
Not. Because retrograde planets hurt.
Honestly, I could not wait for Jupiter to go direct. Thank God it did, because my life is now moving in the right direction again. So
But when it goes retrograde, of course, it's going to be squaring my sun again. So, in the summer, but it's going to go
not
retrograde
lasting
in the
Scorpio
summer.
long though.
But I feel like I'm sort of protected because it's going to go retrograde July, close to August. So there'll be a lot of Leo energy in the air. But also, I get my Jupiter return next year. So it's like, you know
That's
what?
some good stuff.
F you, Saturn, in your retrograde.
I'm just glad Jupiter will not touch Cancer for a while, because when Jupiter was in Cancer, it was like the worst thing for me. It
Mine's
was terrible. I could not
Jupiter in
stand Jupiter Cancer.
Gemini and in Cancer.
Yeah, it was terrible. You read these, astrology like books, and they're like, oh, your sun in Taurus, so it's a good thing because Cancer's right next to you. No, it was terrible. I don't know. In fact, honestly, I'm gonna say this live. For the first person that comments and explains in full detail on this video how Jupiter in Cancer was a great benefic to them, I'll give you a free chart reading.
I was happy when Jupiter went into Leo because like when Jupiter was in Cancer,
Awful.
I sort of let people like walk all over me in a way. Like, cause I try to be understanding, cause it's in my it's transiting my ninth house. So I'm like, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from, see
Everybody
your
was
point of
moving.
view. But as soon as it hit Leo, I'm like, fuck you, bitches. I don't give a damn. I don't care. Like, I felt so bad for my friends because Jupiter was transiting my ninth house, so I was learning how to be more compassionate and understanding, which it did help me. But like, I didn't listen to people's sob stories anymore. I didn't care about people's sob stories anymore. As soon as it hit Leo, I was like, oh,
you're lucky.
Free, get off of me.
lucky, because that thing hit my sixth house.
Gemini transiting my eighth house, which, yeah, was not good.
I wouldn't mind that. I had Jupiter in Cancer. It was my sixth house, and I gained weight for no reason. Like, I was moody, and having Cancer as your sixth house lord and your seventh house lord is not fun. Actually, it's not bad when at work, because at work, I love my coworkers. They're like big family to me. I love that. I love that camaraderie. But when Jupiter was there, it was like, man, eat some cake. Like, I was just like, I couldn't take it. And then went to my seventh house, and I was just like, thank God. But yeah. I don't know. Well, I think that was all I had for you, Jai.
Well, this has been another great hangout. Oh, it's always great talking to you, Walter.
Likewise, Kanjaya. I just love our flows because we trine as well as we're on descendants and ascendants, and that's a topic for next time. Let's talk about the ascendants and descendants and how that all plays out.
We should do a series together.
That would be fun, actually.
But I wanted, for some reason, I want to do Eros or Psyche.
No.
Because of course, huh?
I was like, no.
No, why not? Well, of course, Mars in the eighth house.
I'm not really a fan
of. What about Sears?
I would do a Sears because Sears conjunct with Neptune, and I agree with Steve Judd, I believe his name is, about how Sears affects with Pluton. So I I would love to do.
And I like to do asteroids because, of course, there's not a lot of information out there on it. It's all the same. So it's like it's a playground for me to come up with something, basically define it for myself, because that's what everybody does.
Right, and you know what we just did in our entire video, Jaya?
What?
Is that we gave credit to other people's work that have been putting the work out there instead of refurbishing it and saying it's ours.
I can't do that. I can't do it's basically you're living a lie. Everything all your success is just empty. It's empty. It's yeah. So this
I would love to do another hangout with you, because it's always a pleasure.
Right. I've never been on video with Penny. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Really?
Never been on a video with Penny. It's always like we plan to do it, but like either something comes up with her or something comes up with me. Like it'd be great to get me, you, Penny, and
Crystal Lynn,
Pisces Moon Goddess up here. Like I want to do a big,
Or even like Alyssa Sharp. I would love to have a conversation with Alyssa Sharp live too.
She's doing more Google Hangouts.
Yeah. So. Alyssa, if you see this video, call up.
Or is Venus and Pisces is gonna cry?
I will cry.
Wouldn't it sit in her ascendant?
Huh?
Wouldn't it sit in her ascendant because she's a Pisces?
But what degree is her Pisces?
I know her Aries house is intercepted, so I think it just might conjunct her ascendant.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
Alright, so people, this is where we sign off. Thank you, Walter, for coming up here with me.
Thank you, Kanjaya.
I got some 3-day-old pizza in the fridge. I'm just going to gnaw on, so I don't feel like cooking anymore. 3-day-old pizza is amazing, okay?
At 3 a.m.
It's Hawaiian. It's Hawaiian. It's the pineapple and...
No, that's not good. 3 days old. No, no.
It's been refrigerated.
No.
But all right, guys.
Stay stale. The pineapple stays stale after being refrigerated. Sorry.
You're right. You're right. I can pick around it.
See, this is the Taurus from the first deacon with the double Venus, Venus.
Which is in my 7th house.
Party in the 7th house. Only one partner at a time.
I got Mars and Gemini in the 8th house. I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's more than one partner at a time.
Alright, so this is where we're cutting it.
With some whips and some chains.
You gotta keep it interesting. But anyways, this is where we're signing off. Thank you, Walter, for joining me. Always great talking to you. Thank you guys for watching. Please comment below. I love you guys' feedback.
Remember, if you talk about how great Jupiter in Cancer is, I'll do a reading.
What he said.
Yeah. Hey,
bye, guys.
Reading. All right, bye. Thank you.